Hi, this is Trug from Marquee Insights, and today we're going to talk about how we can use Microsoft Syntex to automate your paper-based processes. So yesterday I was in a few meetings talking to clients, and they were talking about how much effort it was to deal with forms, especially handwritten forms like this one, where basically they're getting in a return from a client and the person is writing in the information that they have to, what all they need to return to the retailer. Well, this then leads to somebody having to sit there and try to figure out what they wrote, type it in, put it into the computer, and then the process goes from there. This works okay if you have a few returns, but if you have a lot, it makes it very difficult to do this efficiently. So we said, let's put together a demo. So we're going to take an iPhone. We're going to use the Office scanner to scan in this form, and I'm going to take you through the entire process of how we convert documents to data, all with Microsoft Syntex. So stay tuned. Okay, so what we're going to be building is basically this, where we're going to have our return form being scanned by our phone, and then from there we're going to email it to a designated inbox. And there we've got something monitoring the inbox, looking for this particular kind of email. What will happen then is when it comes in, it'll take the attachment, which is the image that we scanned in earlier, drop it off into a SharePoint folder. This is where Syntex will do its magic, extracting that data out and also generating a document to send back to the person who filled out the form. So we're extracting that email address from there automatically. We're also taking the data we extract and we're sending it to a Power BI report. So you have a breakdown of what was returned, why it was returned, what items were returned, that sort of thing. We then lead this up to a Power BI metrics scorecard so that you can compare it against your targets. And if you exceed your target, this will then create an alarm that will alert you in Microsoft Teams you have a problem. So that's the overall solution that we're going to show you. Okay, so here we scan, and now we're going to say scan to PDF. Once we do that, we look at our document and we take a photo of it with the scan button. When you click next, it will actually square it up for you, so it doesn't matter which angle you've taken it at. And here we've got a nice clear image. So now we can go ahead and save it. This will then give us the option to click the share button, which is what we use to email it. So here I'm going to say click the send a copy. This will then prompt me for the app. So I'm going to select Outlook, and here I'm going to enter in the email address and my subject line that I'm using to monitor and send the email. Once we do that, so now I'm going to take you through the details of what happened when we hit send from the phone. So here in my email box, you can see I received scan 5, which is the document we scanned from the iPhone. And here's the actual document. So if I double click on that, this will open here and you can see the actual scanned document. So we've got some header information up here, and then we've got some details that we need to extract. So what happens is once that email comes in, a workflow then drops this off into this folder. So this folder has a Syntex model attached to it. And one of the things you can see over here is that the header information was extracted over here. Now, if I want to see what Naruto returned, I can click here to get to the detailed information. And that will take me to the one line item that was on here as a result. So again, once this information is extracted into a structured data set, we can then access it and accomplish a couple of different things. So first off, what we can do is we can actually generate an email notice that goes back to the person who is returning something. So in this case, we've generated this letter using that header information, the detail information, to basically create this document, and that would be emailed to them automatically. We also feed the detailed data to our returns process. So we've got a scorecard here, and the scorecard basically says on a daily basis, we want to have less than 4 returns. And the status of this would be automatically updated based on how we're doing. So if I want to see why are we yellow, I can come here, see my targets, see what's going on. We're at 3, okay. And then I can also use this as a dashboard to drill into the underlying report that we're feeding this data from. And then this will give me the breakdown on all the various things that are going on. So I can say, oh, we had an incorrect item received by Jason Bourne here. And I can also click here and email him directly. So we have the ability, just starting from that scan, to drive a lot of this informatics. When that report updated and we got close to our threshold, because we're using Microsoft Teams and we're using a scorecard, we also got an alert here that said, hey, you're getting close to your metric. This also works too if you have the mobile app installed. It'll basically buzz your phone. If you have an Apple Watch because you're using an iPhone, it will also buzz your Apple Watch. So it's a great way to ensure that notifications are happening immediately.